Are you ready?
Yeah, let's go.
Welcome to the Sports Wrap. He's George. I'm Ringer. It's Groundhog's Day. Did you see your shadow, George?
No, I didn't see any shadow, but they had a picture of a wolf on Sue's phone, and the wolf says the groundhog came out and shot his size shadow for 6 more weeks of winter, so I ate him. And this is what. And then the other one was the other day, and you'll appreciate this. This came on the phone, a little 15-second clip of groundhogs climbing onto rocks in a curling rink.
Oh,
and they're
yes.
and they're climbing on top of the rocks and twirling around, and they have other groundhogs shuffling around. Don't tell me Canadians don't have a sense of humor, eh? So it's pretty cool.
I saw on my phone just before you got here that a guy put out onto Twitter. He said, "I saw my shadow this morning, so that means 8 to 9 more weeks of basketball season left." So I thought, wow, everybody's getting in the mood. So there we go. We got to start by talking football. It's that time of the year, and we didn't know if 4 games could be surpassed by 2 games. But it was pretty close if it wasn't.
No, the last 6 games have been utterly remarkable. I mean, they would have been classic football games had they not been in the same playoff system. You've not seen playoff games like this, and neither have I. And it's
you get maybe 1 or 2 per year, but you don't get 6 out of 6.
It just doesn't happen that way. And with every game, my mouth just kind of dropped open a little bit more. And every one of them were finally played games. Every one of them showed, I mean, a lot of all pros out there. It's just like, so they were really a lot of fun to watch. And for Cincinnati to beat the Titans in Nashville is a big feat, and they're going to come.
Kansas City? Is that where you go?
Yeah, and then Kansas City, and so they've been knocking these things off, and Joe Burrow doesn't have to convince me he's the real thing, and so I'm not sure that they're going to beat the Rams, but they got a very good football team.
They're down 21-3. It looks like it's over.
It's over.
I mean, it's over. Kansas City's up 21-3. There's no possible way.
No.
Not that Cincinnati can't come back and score that many points, but they're going to catch Kansas City because Kansas City's got 21 and there's 7-8 minutes left in the second quarter. They're going to score 50.
Did you see how they were covering Hill? One-on-one? Oh, contraire. They were all over him. And they had they were 2-on-1ing him. I mean, every sideline pass. And that's where he's the most effective because nobody can run as fast as he can.
Right.
And they had one in front and one in back, and they hounded the heck out of him all second half.
So whoever the defensive coordinator for Cincinnati, you're trying to tell me is a genius because the week before they took Tennessee out by packing the box by putting a 5th defensive lineman on the line of scrimmage.
Well, they kind of had to do that.
But now this week they can cover Tyreek Hill by double teaming, so they
the defensive coordinator is how you say flexible.
He likes to. He's just not going to stand still. He's going to do what he's got to do to win.
He's going to do what he has to do, and Hill's has been beating teams since he broke into the league. He's just an incredible receiver, and and for them to say, here, what are we going to do to shut down the most potent tack in pro football? That is, Patrick and Hill, and they just double teamed him, and they forced him to the outside all the time, and so all of a sudden he's trying to catch a pass with his foot 6 inches inside the thing, and he just not even Tyrell can do that.
So it's 21-3.
Yeah.
I'm convinced it's over.
Yeah.
Even at 21-10 at halftime.
Yeah.
And of course everybody's blaming the right before half not getting 3 points or a touchdown when they were down inside the 10-yard line. That was the fatal mistake of the game. But really, the game changed in the second half when Cincinnati started, or maybe late in the second quarter, when Cincinnati all of a sudden was able to put pressure on Patrick Mahomes, and he couldn't find an open receiver.
No,
and he usually is magical at that.
Well, he was, and that, of course, that's coincidental to the fact that they were covering
Yeah.
his favorite receiver.
Sure.
So there really wasn't much that he could.
Okay, so if you're going to double team the favorite receiver, that means Travis Kelce, one of the best tight ends in the league, should be open,
Well,
right?
and he was most of the time, but he dropped a couple of passes there that he ordinarily would have caught. Every time that Kelce touched the ball, he was pretty effective. Don't get me wrong.
Sure.
He's an incredible tight end.
It just seems something changed. They took the foot off the gas. They thought they could cruise in. And then, of course, I thought for sure when they won the flip in overtime. And
yeah, you were waiting for that. I could just...
I'm going to tell you, I did not watch one single play live of the Kansas City-Cincinnati game. I was working on my computer. I had it on my phone. I'm listening to XM. And they came out with the stat of the weekend. And they said this: no team in NFL history has ever won 2 consecutive overtime playoff games.
Oh, yeah, they said that, yeah.
I don't know if they said it on TV, but I know they said it on the radio. And I'm like, wow, kiss of death right there. And about 3 plays later, he throws the interception. And what did McPherson? He copyrighted a nickname for himself, something Mac. I can't remember. It came across Twitter, but before the game, he's got a nickname that's all his own. Nobody else can ever use that. He's got a trademark on that. And well, why not? You're a field goal kicker who kicks game-winning field goals regularly. I don't know how many
long ones,
and doesn't seem to bother him. I think about the Cincinnati defense. I know I can't name a guy on their defense. I can name a few guys on the offensive side of the ball. So they're the number 4 seed from the AFC going in. And before I forget, this came across on Twitter. There was a guy or a gal, don't know, that put down a $20 bet, and he predicted or she predicted the exact scores of both games.
Whoa.
They won $549,000 on that $20 bet.
See, I'm going to tell
$549,000.
it's time to start applying yourself right now.
It's time to start getting deep within yourself and come up with those scores to these games. So, all right, how about the other one? Did you think the Rams were done for?
Well, I did. Of course I did. And then, but it's like anything else. The Rams defense pulled it tight. And all of a sudden, Debo wasn't getting the catches. And I'm not saying that they slowed down Bosa much, because they did not. But those were the 2 things that had to be controlled, were defensive tackles on either team and wide receiver on either team. And what do you want to say? Cooper Kupp was great. It was maybe not great, really close to great.
Yeah.
And and so he's just kind of the one that won the day. I think those 2 athletes, so from A to Z, and you could put them on any 11-man football team at any of the positions, and they would do just fine. I mean, outside of linemen, they are just incredible football players. And so I think that's going to be an issue for Cincinnati. It's been an issue for everybody else. And I talked to one guy who was telling me, when we first had our fantasy league, I drafted him. I said, you've been happy ever since? Ever since. Yeah, and it's so he's just that kind of, has that kind of a charisma, and he's just that kind of football player. So if they can stop him, and they can stop Big Matt, who played, when he was hot, and all the rest. But that was 2 really good football teams. The thing of it is that they were saying San Francisco's won the last so many games and all the rest of that, and I thought, those professional teams change so much. And if there's one team that's changed quite a bit, just with the addition of Stafford, it was the Rams. And so,
I think I may have said it here. I may have said it elsewhere. I may have said it in multiple places. When the Rams picked up OBJ, I said that was going to destroy that team, that he would tear that team apart. He has shown that he's effective. That didn't happen. I don't know if he swallowed his ego, if he put it to the side, what he did.
He's playing very well right now.
He's playing very well.
Yeah.
Obviously, because he's playing well, that makes Cooper Kupp that much better.
It does. It certainly does.
So Stafford didn't play badly. Not too bad when you don't win a playoff game for 13 years.
This is brand new waves for him too, and so but he seemed to be pretty happy with his performance at the end. Of course, you just won your conference championship, which in the old days was as good as it got, and so. I just like the looks of that Rams team. I like the looks of it a couple years ago when they were in the Super Bowl. They had, and sometimes it takes that much time to put together the organization that you want to do. And now, I think San Francisco has an organization that's between Shanahan and Lynch. That's a strong organization, and they're going to do incredible things.
Yeah, I think like I said, I go back and did San Francisco take the foot off the pedal? Did the Rams finally figure out what they needed to change offensively to score 3 times in the fourth quarter? So to me, it was a close game, and of course, it looks like Jimmy Garoppolo has probably played his last game with the Niners. It seems like they're going to part ways peacefully.
I got to give him a lot of credit, and keep in mind when he broke into the league, he was going to be the new upstart, just like everything else. And the reality is
he was going to be the replacement for our good friend Tom Brady, right?
He was going to be the replacement for Tom Brady, but it's kind of like it's one of the things where we talk about Aaron Donald playing for the other guy on that defense is Von Miller. He is just incredible, and he would put the rush on, and Donald would come in from the inside. Well, here's this poor stinking tackle saying, which one do I try to hit? This who they say is the best football player ever, or this guy that's going a million miles an hour, and I wouldn't know what to do. And so, they were able to do that. And if they can do that, Joe Burrow might have a tough day.
Yeah, before we I don't think it's wise to make any decisions now because, of course, we've got 7 days until the next show.
Yeah.
And I just looked over at the Weather Channel. They're saying minus 34 for tonight. Jeez. Anyway, before we make any predictions on the game, we should wait a week because
I'm not making any.
COVID could come around. Somebody could get injured. Somebody could claim that they were asked to be paid $100,000 a game to lose.
Well, we got to take this week to build the hype. And so, so you have the best young quarterback that's broken the league in any number of years against a real solid defense. If he can pull what he pulled off in Kansas City and what he pulled off in Tennessee,
I was going to say who's the better defense? Because it might be Cincinnati. Yeah.
I would not have predicted at the beginning of this year that the Cincinnati Bengals would be anywhere near this, and and they are, and you got to give them all the credit.
250 to 1 or 125 to 1, some incredible number they were to 1 to win the Super Bowl, and now they're just one step away. Brian Flores is suing the NFL, and just before we started taping the show, Hugh Jackson said that he was asked to lose games, paid to lose games when he was the head coach of the Browns. Flores claims that he was offered money to lose games for Miami. When he refused, he was deemed as disgruntled and whatever else. So this is going to get interesting.
Yes,
if owners are asking coaches to purposely lose games.
Well, there's a lot of things going on, and the NFL, for instance, has rules relating to candidates for coaching jobs, according to race, and a lot of people are arguing good, bad, or indifferent.
Yeah.
The fact of it is that the teams have to follow some sense of rules, and when you see this, you have to say, well, they're not following the rules there. To have a team go out and lose a football league game, National Football League game, is dangerous because somebody has to do something less than full go, and it's you can get hurt doing that.
Yeah, it's alarming, and this I would say a developing story. So we probably should leave it at that. did you see that Aaron Rodgers, his destination, favorable position is Denver?
Yeah,
that's where they say he's going to end up.
Yeah.
So,
he's a mile high anyway, so it doesn't matter. It's he'll do real well there.
You keep talking.
Oh, well,
keep
yeah?
talking. I got to go over here and do something.
Well, I'll tell you.
You're getting washed out. I'm looking at the camera.
Oh.
Oh, that's not the right
No,
one.
that's the one. Don't wash me out. Oh, look at that. I'm back.
You're back. So, before my man from Vermont and New Hampshire from Dartmouth says, geez, can you do a better job with that camera? It's too dark, it's too light, it's too... so you got to do... Anyway, Denver, the franchise is up for sale. Did you see the price that they think they're going to get?
Well, no, I actually, if you have to ask... you
$4 billion.
That's with a B.
$4 billion. If the Denver Broncos sell for $4 billion, how much are the Cowboys worth? 8?
Well, I don't even want to know
7,
that.
8, 9
And
billion?
they, especially when they go with those brand new tax-supported stadiums.
Well, those make the world go around.
They do. But just before we go, I want to talk about Tom Brady.
Tom Brady.
Okay, and it's just like I saw a report today in the New York Times. And it said Tom Brady leaves while he's in his prime. And I thought, he's 43 years old in one of the nastiest games in the world, and prime is, you can maybe say prime is 35, but in the National Football League, prime's not 43. Prime's 43 is a miracle, and it's
He threw for 5,300 plus yards this year.
Isn't that something?
He led the league.
Isn't that something?
And he's leaving.
Yeah, well, I'll tell you what. Good for him. I saw a picture of him and his family. Did you see that wife of his? If he gets to stay home with her, that's real tough. The children are beautiful. This is the all-American family.
That's what happens when you marry a model. I mean...
Oh, is that what she was? Oh,
she was or is? I don't know. Yeah.
Anyway, you take a look, and they all look like, here, I've got the most famous dad in the world, and he's going to be home with me.
Yeah, obviously, what does Tom Brady do? Does he try to become Tony Romo? Does he become a Troy Aikman? Does he go do this for a living now, or does he sit back and become a general manager? Does he become...
No, he becomes
a coach?
Like Archie Manning and just breed quarterbacks. And that's,
Well, and here's the thing to me, okay? And I'm not saying other quarterbacks and guys who retire from the league aren't competitive, but somebody, ESPN, Fox, somebody's going to throw a bajillion dollars at him to come sit with a tie on Sundays before the games or during the games and talk about football.
They are.
So does he do that? Does he go, like I said, does he go to the games? Does he whatever? Because it seems to me he's too competitive. He's got too much whatever to sit at home. Maybe he takes up golf. I don't know, but Tom Brady's not going to go away.
No. He's too young.
I think about Michael Jordan.
Yeah.
He retired, what, 2000? Wow.
When played
he did that
baseball.
before and after, but. He went into the ownership part of it and used his money that way to become an owner and found his way in with all that stuff. So, like I said, what does Tom Brady do? It'll be interesting to see what happens.
Well, that's true, and it's just like, well, those of us in the media, we know how much think success you can have in that.
Exactly.
So anyway, but I mean, he's leaving, and I want to reiterate, Jim Brown left after 10 years. Yeah. And when he left, he was a cruncher. I mean, he was an incredible cruncher. Yeah. The only time for 6 or 7 years that he didn't lead the league in rushing, I think he had like a broken leg or something, and he just absolutely couldn't play. And I just remember that because Jim Taylor from the Green Bay Packers that's when fullbacks were real. He was the lead rusher that year, and that was because Mr. Brown couldn't play. And it's just, those are the things you remember when you're a kid about these athletes.
Absolutely.
But when he left, we were all, why would he do that? Well, the linebackers were getting bigger then.
Well, and he had made his money. He was going to go into acting. He went into some movies.
No.
Maybe Tom goes into acting.
He could. He's no.
Get his own reality series with that model wife of his.
He could get his own blues show. A lot of things could happen.
You never know what's going to come around the corner, George. You never know. Hey, you never know. Tom might get his own shirt or something.
T-shirt.
Look, okay. Now we wore the shirts a couple weeks ago, but here's the new improved version. And I'm just going to say, folks, if you want one of these, stop at the radio station. $30. You can get your George Frake Rainy Lake Blues Hour T-shirt for $30. Come on down, stop in, pick one up. We got all kinds of sizes.
Yeah, all kinds of sizes.
All I can say is that your good friend JJ wore that T-shirt in the airport, and she got a lot of looks.
I'll bet you she did.
She got a lot of looks. So anyway, there's the shameless promotion for the Rainy Lake Blues.
Everybody was wondering, who's that blues guy? I've never seen him before.
It's Rainy Lake. Anyway, so you get a shirt with George Frake's face on it. Where could you go wrong? Where could you go wrong? So, where you want to go next? Basketball or hockey or wrestling?
We can do any one of them.
Let's go wrestling.
Okay.
Let's stay there.
Okay.
So last Friday night, the Gophers wrestled Michigan.
They did.
And before I get too excited about the second match of the night, is that the nastiest, the meanest you've ever seen our good friend Gable?
Yeah, he wasn't happy, and I'll tell you, it's like when you're wrestling a guy like Gable, and he has, and we refer to this, having his will with you, and that's what Mason Parrish is, and he's a very fine wrestler. He was runner-up in the Big Tens and placed in the Nationals. I mean, he's number 4 in the nation and could well have been number 2, except he lost to this kid from Ohio State. But I just knew that all last year when Gable Steveson was preparing, this was part of one of the small little roadblocks he wanted to demolish. And he does this.
Right,
he just wanted this Mason Parrish thing to be done, and he did that, and Parrish knew what he was doing, and he didn't like it.
Yeah. Gable put a tweet out, I think it was on Saturday or Sunday, I don't remember which day it was, and he says, when you wrestle the way you're supposed to wrestle aggressively, something, there were 3 things, then you are considered dirty, something. It was whatever. And so apparently there weren't a lot of people happy. I even told Eli, because that's his favorite wrestler now, Gable Steveson. Why not? He can do a backflip. Who wouldn't want? When I told Eli, I said, Gable was mean tonight. He was in a bad mood. I said I wouldn't want to wrestle him anytime. But I wouldn't have really wanted to wrestle him on Friday because he was taking extra pushes, shoves at Parrish. I think almost trying to goad him into trying to do something back to him so he could take advantage of it.
Well,
and Parrish did not take the bait. He was passive. I thought he took a couple of shots, but he knew he was outclassed.
He knew he's out, and I'll tell you, it's Steveson is making a statement for the Big Tens and for the NCAAs. This is who I am this year, and I mean he's going around and getting standing ovations in Iowa, and he's just, I mean he's ripping through the competition. He really, there hasn't been anything even close since his Olympic finals, and it's just no, he is a showman and he is a wrestler right now, and I think that this would have been something 100 years ago when wrestling was fairly popular and wrestlers were superstars, and this did happen. And so he is just one of those guys that wants to stand around and wave around, and when he wins the big matches, do the backflip and stand out for an hour and sign autographs for kids. He's that type of kid. On the other hand, when he's on the mat and he's going at you, he's there for one purpose, and and he's not a pinner. And I don't know.
That is the one thing that I miss.
Yeah,
and I'd like to see him be able to do, but it's not what he.
That's not what he does, and he'll beat you 1,000 different ways, but for whatever reason, I mean, I can see him try to work, try to tilt, try to do all the rest of this stuff, and I know he knows all the moves. I mean, we all know all the moves. but he just says no, he'll stand him up and take him down again. And from the feet, the first thing you do is, as an opponent or a coach or anything, you take a look and say, where will I attack my opponent? And you have no answer with Stevenson. You got to take what he gives you, and he's going to give you that. And that's strong. Yeah, it's
crazy. The Gopher wrestling team is close to getting over and start winning duels. I mean, they're losing.
It was 2014 in Michigan, and that's exactly what they did too. And they lost 4. There were some really good matches though, and I mean, I don't know if I can read it down here, but Jake Berglund, 5-2, and that was kind of an upset. He was 14, and Steve Mikic was number 4, and so that was a good match, and he came right at him and fought him off the first period, and then slowly took control of the match. That was a good match, and Michael Blockhaus, he's doing well. I think the best wrestler probably on the team outside of Stevenson is Brandon Lee, and he's. So they have a good good wrestling team.
I just feel like they're there, but man, to be good in the Big Ten, you got to be really good.
There are a lot of good wrestling teams in the Big Ten. What were you saying? Like the top 10 rated?
Yeah, 10 out of I think in the top 21, I think they had 10 teams. The duel after the Gophers and Michigan, which was very good.
Yeah.
But 1 versus 2.
Yes.
Penn State number 1.
Yes.
Iowa number 2. I mean, it was. If you're, I even hazard to say, if you're not a wrestling fan, every match it seemed like had at least one number 1 in the nation, okay, or a 2 and a 3, some combination thereof. Rematches from last year from the Big Tens or the national championship matches. It was like a who's who of wrestling, and of course your good friend RBY Roman Bravo, young Bravo, whatever his name is.
Yeah,
I don't know how he does it. He just lulls you to sleep, and then about 1 minute into the third period, he says, all right, I'm going to have to do something, otherwise I'm going to get called for the stall for the 19th time this match, and then he gets a takedown and he wins.
He wins.
The dirty son of a gun.
There are flurries that come out, and some of those guys, when they start those flurries, they don't know what they're doing. They're just reacting to the situation. And that's not how they drill it. And some of these guys are so good of getting out of these messes and getting into these messes, and that's how they wrestle. And people watching, what is going on there? Well, hard to tell. And it's Penn State is coached by Cale Sanders, and he's an incredible wrestling mind. He was an incredible wrestling talent, undefeated NCAA.
That's how he sits there, watches the match.
Yeah, just like that. In fact, when Sue come walking in, I was sitting on the edge of my chair, on the edge, and it's just like she sits down. She says, "You're not napping, huh?" No. And so I looked at myself. I was like I was sitting in the stands. My legs were up. I was sitting around, totally focused. There was no sipping going on. There was no nothing going on. There was wrestling going on. But Fridays, like you pointed out, the Big Ten Network on Fridays puts to rest all the rest of those sports, and they wrestle. And it is good.
I said Penn State, Iowa. Iowa loses a Big Ten duel for the first time in 4 seasons, 28 straight, I think they said, 2017, whenever it was with the pandemic, it's tough to remember. But it was just fun to watch. It was competitive. Every match was close.
Yeah.
I hate to say it, but I found myself cheering for Iowa.
Yeah, I know.
Because I was cheering for the underdog, if you can believe that. It was good stuff. I hate to say I should have been in bed sleeping, but I was
No, it's Coach Sanderson. These guys are really good, and then he's got a great crop of coaches. Penn State right now rules, and you can't take it away from them.
Can I throw something phenomenal out at you?
Sure.
Okay. Everybody knows that I do sports on the radio, right?
Yeah, you do.
You guys are aware of this. I'm not trying to be whatever. Do you realize that in the month of January, I did not do one game on the radio on a Friday night?
Really?
Not one Friday night. I had every Friday night off. That wasn't by design. We had games scheduled, but COVID and cancellations and whatever else, I had all 4 Fridays. And I've got this Friday off as well. That's 5 consecutive Fridays off. That shouldn't happen in the middle of a winter. There should be something going on.
Well,
but
not when you're doing 5 and 6 games a week. No.
Yeah, I mean, it's not like you're picking to have Fridays off or something. I told Mike that the other day, and he's like, well, it happens, I guess.
Does.
Friday nights are for sports, man, and I've been fortunate enough to get to watch some wrestling on Friday nights. So.
No, Friday night that's for wrestling.
It's for wrestling. I like it.
Yeah.
Shall we move on to hockey or basketball? Which one?
I'll tell you. You want to take the Timberwolves? Let's talk about
the Wolves.
Triana Prince.
Torian is how they said it on the news this morning.
Well, I've only seen him a little bit last fall, and he got hurt and all the rest of this. He got 23 points, including 6 threes. The kid can play basketball.
Yeah, the Wolves are playing well, and it's just not. This is without D'Angelo Russell, by the way.
I realize.
And this is without Patrick Beverley, by the way. And they're showing that they can take care of business.
Towns playing really well, and all of a sudden,
they got 68 points from the bench last night.
Jeez,
that's a season high for the Wolves. 68 points.
That's a lot of buckets.
That's a lot of points from their bench.
Yeah.
And you mentioned Towns has been playing very well lately. Anthony Edwards has been playing well, and they've had to without D'Angelo Russell in the lineup. But to beat Denver at home, they were up by as many as 30 at one point in the game last night. This team is loaded up. I'm not saying they're going to beat the world. Obviously, they lost at Golden State. They lost at Phoenix. But a lot of teams are going to go to Golden State and lose. They're going to go to Phoenix, Arizona, and they're going to lose. So no shame in that. But to take down Denver like they did last night, yes, at home. I'm afraid they get Detroit on Thursday night. We record on Wednesday here. They get Detroit on the road on Thursday. That's a trap game because everybody looks past Detroit because Detroit's not very good, and the Timberwolves can't. They got to go out there, and as we used to say in the business, you got to step on their beep 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 throat, and they better do it early and don't even give that team a thought that they can hang around.
An interesting story about Prince. He came from Cleveland and with a trade with Rubio, and Rubio went last fall and chewed up the league, and all of a sudden Prince is on the bench, and they were taking a lot. Well, you see, you should. I never said that. But
not George.
Yeah,
George doesn't like Rubio. I think that's how the show goes. I love Rubio and George doesn't.
Something like that. Anyway, they're getting a little bit of that back right now, and it's good to see somebody come off the bench all in one piece. And
Jared Vanderbilt comes off the bench. Like I said, they seem to have a good mix, and they seem to like to play with each other. And that, to me, that's probably the secret to the Wild. But we'll talk about them in a minute. So go Wolves. We've been touting you guys the whole way. Hopefully things will continue. How about that Gopher basketball game on Sunday?
The Gopher basketball, you take a look. They fought them hard the whole way, and then of course I got to take a look at the three key players for the Badgers all came from Minnesota.
Sure.
And so I just got to take a look and say, Minnesota beat Minnesota, but then it got complicated, so I didn't do that. I thought that they come back and played really, really hard. I was, as you know, I've been following Brad Davidson for a long time, and he played one of those good, consistent games that you want your. I saw him posting up with 6'10" guys and 6'11" guys. He doesn't back down for any. He's a good player to have on the court at any time. So I'm sure Jimmy and his wife are real pleased with their son, and and they surely should be. That being said, it would have been nice for the Gophers to upset them, and they come close enough to be able to do it. And I just
tied it up at 60 with about 90 seconds
Yeah.
to go, and maybe they shot all their bullets to whatever to get back 260 to 60, and then Wisconsin scored the last 6 points. But there they playing the number 11 team in the nation on the road, and they showed that they can hang in there. Yeah, they're 2-7, and I can hear people out there talking where there's no whatever wins. We want W's. We don't want moral victories. There's the word I'm looking.
And I'll tell you, it's not all that bad. What I got some nuts on here. Okay, so they lost a tough one here. Now tonight they play Purdue, and I mean, well, the thing of it is that okay, he's 7'4" and he can do a lot of things. But I watched him. Where was it? I think it was whoever they were playing last week.
They beat Ohio State on Sunday.
Ohio State. They had him on the bench most of the game for fouls. And you get 2 fouls on him, he's going to sit for the half. And so they're going to have to take.
So this is the game plan.
You got to take it to the big guy, and it's.
So that's Eric Curry's job.
Well, that's got to be Curry's job. Yeah. But yeah, this is. All
right, let's
Zach Etley.
Okay. So let's say let's just put it out there.
Yeah.
Okay. How many games do the Gophers have to play Purdue to beat them? I mean, is it 1-5 that they would beat them? 1-10, 1-15?
I don't think 1-5 is. I mean, they beat them a couple of years ago in the barn. Hey, they beat top 5 teams in the barn almost every year.
So tonight is the prediction. Today is the day.
Today could be the day.
The groundhog saw his shadow, so hey, you never know. Anything can happen.
Yeah, hey, that's right. And you got all these people coming back, and and I see good things from Jamison Battle. Jamison Battle, that's a great name. Last name indicates a warrior. The first name indicates, well, his family made really good whiskey. So it was.
There you go.
He's a great combination. No, this kid, if they can keep him around, is.
Well, I don't think they're going to have any problem keeping him around. I don't think he's going portal. I don't
think he's going portal. I think he's going pro. But he's a ways from there.
He's not ready for that. He's not polished enough to go there. Maybe someday.
Yeah, I think he's quite a kid. He's a lot of fun to watch.
Go for women.
Go for women. They're doing well, and it's just they beat Wisconsin at home the other night, and they were getting good scoring from around the bench,
but they lost their starting point guard.
Yeah.
This isn't the first time this has happened. This is the second time this has happened in the middle of the season.
Yeah.
Where your quote unquote best player all of a sudden decides that they're leaving the program, not at the end of the season, not at the end of a school year, at the end of a semester. They're leaving right now. They can't take what's going on anymore. I am very concerned about that. Yes, the Gopher women got blown out by Iowa here last week, the week before, by 56 points, 105-49 or whatever, 104-49, whatever it was. But Jasmine Powell did not appreciate not being started in the second half because Lindsay, either her, whatever happened, somehow the blame was cast on her for not getting things done. I'm reading into the situation.
That Lindsay wasn't getting things done?
No, that Jasmine Powell wasn't getting things done. So what happens? You get sat and you get talked to. I don't know that that's what's going on, but it's got to be a concern for the administration, for Mark Coyle, for Gopher fans, because something not positive is going on here. You recruit these players in, and then they end up leaving you in the middle of the season. Like I said, it happens. I get it. But when your 2 star players leave you in the middle of the season, I'm very concerned that there's a pattern here, and when that pattern goes through, you stop getting these good players. Now she's going to have all these ladies from Minnesota.
There are a bunch of them coming in.
We're going to see what happens because, like I said, she's putting herself out on the line here, and I know kids. It's open. It's different now than it was 10 years ago, even 5 years ago. But it's very concerning to me.
Yes.
Yes, good win. on Sunday.
The portal thing and being able to kind of just drop everything and go, that is a concern. In terms of what the kids should get, they should get, if they're there on a full scholarship, they should be able to keep that scholarship. And after that, I mean, you there's none of it fair. And it's just, you have to keep on going with it. I never held it against any of the coaches or anything that I had.
No, and I understand that there's situations, but man, I don't know what it says. I mean, obviously people quit midstream. It happens. Things go on, but I guess I was brought up that if you started something, you finished it.
Oh yeah.
And by God, you started the season with this team. Suck it up. Things might go bad. Things might be going bad. But you finish out the season, and then at the end of the season, you can say, okay, I stuck around long enough. I finished it out. I did what I was supposed to do. I just think I don't like it. I don't like it.
No, like I say about the whole portal circumstance or transferring, or the relationship between coaches and their players. A lot can go wrong, and a lot will go wrong until they get it settled in. I just know if I ever would have thought that I would have gone to a different school other than UMD, I would have thought, well, I might have gone to a community college, so when I got to UMD, I'd be better prepared.
Sure.
That type of thing entered my mind, and it entered some community college coaches' mind. And what they predicted basically happened. So you see that and you think, but I have never regretted a day.
No,
and it's just like,
I just have to get used to the new way, right?
Yeah, I guess you do.
I'm old.
We're all going to have to get used to it.
Ready to talk Wild?
Let's talk of the Wild. The Wild are wild.
The Wild are hot right now again after a winter doldrums around New Year's where they weren't playing very consistent, playing on a consistent basis games. They sure seem to have turned it around. They've scored a point in 9 games in a row. That matches a season high. Things seem to be going. They just signed Jordan Greenway to a 3-year extension. They're getting some players back. They lost Marcus Foligno and your buddy Matt Dumba for the foreseeable future with some upper body injuries. But it seems like for the Wild, they just reload the lineup and find another guy.
Oh, and Carrilla has been named to the NHL All-Star team, which is, I'm not surprised either. They passed him up last year because they didn't know if he'd be good enough. He right now, and he's got awards for this. He's the best young hockey player in the league, and the way he's smiling, the way he's enjoying it, the way that line is playing, you just take a look and say, "Why? Go for it, guys! You get to do this once in your life."
Yeah, the kid that I'm more happy for, or really amazed at, is Matt Boldy. I think they knew what they had. They sent them down to Iowa at the start of the season. Had to send them down basically with the injury. But to me, it's been seamless. It's like he's out on the ice, and it's not. Sometimes rookies try too hard. They try to do too much.
Yeah, he was prepared to make that.
He just lets the game. Yeah. He plays within the game. He's good, but he's not trying to do too much. He seems to get it, and they had the little piece on him that. They told him that he's doesn't have to worry about going down anymore. You're part of the Wild. It's all done.
And I would be really surprised if somebody didn't predict that he was going to be up at the team at this level, because he has a lot of skills for a young man, and he's got a great attitude. And if you take a look at these guys in his teams, every one of them seems to be, how we would say with a younger kid, very coachable. And these guys are coachable, and they will listen, and they take everybody's viewpoint. They're very bright, and they know their game well. I'm impressed with this team.
As scary as the Wild have been over the last couple of weeks, the Colorado Avalanche have been scarier. They lost last night, I think, for just the third time in 22 or 23 games. It's close to that, but the Wild are playing great hockey. They can get no closer to the top of the standings again. because Colorado just keeps winning.
Well,
They've got a nice team.
Well, it all comes down to the playoffs anyway, and so, I mean, once you make that playoff list, it seems to me the season starts all over. And but they're, the Avalanche still going to be tough to beat, and I figured that out. I watched them against the Wild. They're a very good hockey team, and you just think, where do all these great hockey players come from? Well, I don't know, but a good portion came are working with Colorado. I'll tell you, yeah, they're a good bunch.
They've got a nice team.
Yes.
So, hopefully the Wild are playing in Chicago, then the All-Star break, and then. Of course, we were supposed to have the Olympic break, and we'll talk about the Olympics here in a second. But obviously, that break for the Olympics has now been filled with those games that they had canceled back in December and early January. So they're going to be a busy team. I think 5 or 6 games added in during that break. So, like I said, I'm looking forward to it. Looks like they're going to be able to get back into Canada and play some games against those teams in Edmonton and Winnipeg. Winnipeg has not been playing very well lately. Anyway, it's going to be interesting.
Well, I think that the league really made a smart decision when they decided to pull out of the Olympics and not send all those guys overseas and to get involved in a whole new atmosphere. They were taking a look at their own. So
yeah, I think the NHL said, what do we do for our league rather than maybe what's good for the fans.
How many of these guys are going to come back with COVID? How many? You're really taking a serious risk with that.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. So
yeah.
Do you want to talk Olympics, or are we done with the Wild? Or anything else?
I'm just know that the Wild are really a lot. If right now between the Timberwolves and the Wild, I've not had professional sports at that level here. Well, ever. And so, I've only got, 2 televisions and 2 eyes, so you can only watch so much. But the sports right now are excellent.
You can only watch so much. You remember that, folks. You can only watch so much sports.
Yeah.
You're limited.
You are.
And that's just too bad.
Yes.
The Olympics started this morning. The American mixed doubles team got a win over Australia in mixed doubles curling, and they play again. Well, it's 4:24 here. I look up at the clock over the top of the camera, and in about 36 minutes our time, they're going to be doing it again. Early morning over in China, they're going to be playing Australia again in mixed doubles. Well, I'm not exactly sure why that works out that way, but Canadian women's hockey tonight, American women's hockey Thursday morning, and of course that's just going to get everything started, and pretty soon we'll be watching the skiers. And I like biathlon.
Biathlon.
I don't know why I dig it, but I do. It's one of the Winter Olympic sports that I wish I watched more. I love skeleton, because when I go sliding down a hill, and I call it sliding, not sledding like they do here in the International Falls, get out of that sunlight. I don't call it sledding, it's sliding. You're sliding down the hill, you're not sledding down the hill. You're riding a sled, but you're sliding. I don't know, George. It's just me.
I guess.
Hey, we used to go to the show here in International Falls when I got here in 1994. When people said they were going to the show, I'm like, what show are you going to watch? Well, I'm going to go watch Raiders of the Lost Ark. I'm like, you mean you're going to the movies? No, it was the show.
No, in the old days, they called them the picture show, like the last picture show. And it was just like, these are picture shows.
Anyway.
Yeah.
So anyway, skeleton, when you go sliding on the belly, that's the way to go. So those are good stuff. And ski jumping.
We have a bobsledder, Myers Taylor, and she has concocted COVID, and she is kind of tucked away for a while. I don't know when the bobsled things,
I don't know
happen either.
With what's going with the Chinese rules and the Olympic rules. I don't know if she's going to get back in or not get back in. Yeah.
They had an article in the Minneapolis paper today about curling, and they were talking about it is so popular in the United States right now. They're setting up and looking into professional curling association, where you have teams that go around and compete and all the rest of that. And I thought, this is heads up looking into the future type competition, because very few people get concussions while playing curling.
Unless you slip and fall on and hit your head on one of those granite rocks.
You can put a helmet on with you. Yeah, you got to watch the rocks.
John Schuster gets to carry the flag because the
Schuster's
person
gonna do that.
because what's her name, the bobsledder was supposed to, and John Schuster was the second choice, I guess.
Yeah.
But hey, Minnesota kid gets to carry the flag, so that's a good thing.
He's the skip of the Olympic curling team.
So,
defending champions, I believe.
They are the defending Olympic champions for the men. You bet.
Yeah.
And boy, the Australian Open just got over, and you're. Rafael Nadal, come on, man! What is he doing?
He is getting a last
the
couple
human rain delay wins again. I don't know. I'm angry. I chose not to watch it. I told you last week I would get up and watch it. I didn't. I couldn't.
He's the savage Spaniard.
At 3:30 in the morning, I don't have the patience to deal with. And then serve the ball. Just serve the ball, man.
He's just getting the sweat out of his eyes.
I swear he pours water over his head. And then this new towel thing that he's got going on.
He folds it.
Where he's got to fold it.
That's pretty funny.
Oh my God.
Well, he suffers from a small obsessive compulsive
And you got to
trait.
step on the line behind the service line after every game, and it's just like, yeah, he's but he's won 21 Grand Slams, so who am I to argue? Right?
Yeah.
It's all about winning, baby.
He
Just win.
just won the Australian Open, and nobody ever predicted that was going to happen. The beginning of that.
Yeah, I would not have guessed that before. Yeah. I mean, obviously he's still Rafa Nadal, but he hadn't played hardly at all in the last 9 months. And of course, Ash Barty comes up with.
She is amazing. She is my athlete of the year. She is just. She's incredible.
And Danielle Collins from the States
she is
came
too.
in 27th seed, and she lost 6-3, 7-6 to Ash Barty. But I did watch part of that match, and I'll tell you what, Collins gave her everything that she wanted. She had to battle to win it. It wasn't like the first 6 rounds where it seemed like Ash Barty. All right, she's done. It's over. She won the match.
Nobody else took her to 3.
Yeah, it just she. So anyway, it was a fun match to watch. But like I said,
well, every once in a while, Danielle, she had the same look as Gable Stevenson had in his wrestling match, and she has, and she was ready to go there. But she's a good American girl. I loved it.
Yeah. So anyway, my point about the Australian Open was just got done watching overnight sports. Now we got 16 or 17 more days of this to go on overnight sports, and like I said, I talked to Nita about getting Peacock on the Fire Stick or whatever.
How's that work?
Whatever she's got. Well, because Peacock is showing everything live. Whatever you want to watch, it's on live on Peacock instead of waiting for NBC to show it 9 hours later or whatever. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, I've got 6 games next week on the air. When am I going to find time to pay for Peacock and make it even close to worth the money? Not that money's, it's not going to be that expensive, but when am I going to have time to feel like I can do that? I guess I can be at work in the mornings, watching the night stuff and whatever else, but I feel sad that I can't watch as much of it as I'd like to. I'd like to engross myself and sit down in front of the TV about 8 hours a day and watch Olympic sports, but it's just not going to happen.
Just ask one thing about Olympic hockey here.
One thing.
Now, they're predicting Canada and USA in again, and then there was another article that says Finlander is saying not so quick.
Huh? This is for men's hockey.
No, it's for women's hockey.
Oh, wow. Yeah, wow. Yeah, I mean, Finland's getting closer.
Yeah.
No doubt about it. But the States and Canada, it's a foregone conclusion. Those other games are just fodder to fill so everybody gets warmed up and gets ready to go.
So USA and Canada have had to play a preliminary round of matches. Have they beaten each other? Or?
They were supposed to play 9 times. I think if I remember right, they played 6. And the last one, the next to last one, or the last one they were supposed to play that didn't get played was supposed to be at the XL Energy Center in December. But Canada won 4, the States won 2. But 3 and maybe 4, I'm going off the top of my head, folks, went to overtime.
Oh, that's close enough.
Oh, it's going to be close. It's going to be fun. When you get to that gold medal game, and that game's being played at 3 o'clock in the morning, Tim will get up early for that. That'll be worth the price of getting up for.
Yeah.
So, yeah, the Olympics, it's going to be fun, and like I said, I don't have any illusions about that the United States is going to win this number of medals or whatever. I'd like to watch some curling. Like I said, I'd like to watch some skeleton and some other things. So.
The men's opens up February 5th,
which is on Saturday
against Russia.
Okay. The men's competition is so wide. I think we said this a week or two ago. What are we going to get? Who are we going to see? We know what we're getting with the college kids. You're getting some good players, but what is Russia bringing in?
Hard to say.
I don't know. Like I said, I suspect most of their best players are playing in the NHL, but there's got to be some pretty good players in the KHL over there that are going to be playing for Russia. So I don't know. It's going to be fun. See what happens.
And see what happens. If you can't,
college kids have won a gold medal before.
Well, they have, and and every one of them that's playing in this knows the story, and so they'd say, yeah, we would like that to happen with us too. And so, and also, there's an awful lot of really good college kids out there playing hockey. They're big, they're strong. They're all going to be in the NHL somewhere along the line.
Obviously, I'm partial to Cates, no Cates from UND, because I get to watch him a lot, and he's a Bulldog. So, but what amazes me about him, and my Uncle Paul was the one who kind of put this on to me a couple years ago, when him and his brother would go into the corner after a puck, about 90% of the time, they come out with the puck. Not the other guy. They come out with the puck. And in tight quarters, somehow they're able to possess that puck, even though somebody's jabbing at the stick, jabbing at the puck. They're able to maintain possession of it. It's amazing. And, of course, the older one is with the Flyers and scored a goal here a couple of weeks ago. And so, and like I said, he's not a Hobie Baker candidate, but some of these other guys are. And so now put all these good college kids, and like I said, a lot of them are going to be pros in the next couple of years. Put them all out there and let's see what happens.
I'll tell you, I've watched every level of hockey in the last few days, from squirts, high school, college, and the NHL. And you see a lot of these kids coming up, great athletes. They can skate well. They just don't have it with the stick. And there are some that their skate doesn't look like they're really fast, or they're doing this and that. Man, they can pick anything up with it. And and you see this, all the pros, they can both skate and stick handle. And most of the college kids can too, but they have that thing with the stick that's amazing.
I chuckle, I laugh, I smile, because I got to go watch the Broncos Squirt B Purple team the other night. I got to put my hours in for having a kid in rec hockey, and all these kids, the dads, most of them I know, and getting to know others, and like Derek Bilbin's son Jens is out there. The son of a gun can skate about 400 miles an hour, and can handle the puck like nobody's business. I got to the game and everybody's like, What are you doing here? I said, I'm doing the scorebook for the game. Why? I said, well, everybody's got to get their hours in. And they're like, oh. I said, plus I get to come watch hockey. I said, that's not so bad. And they're kind of like, oh, you really? I had so much fun watching the Squirt B Purple team, and there's a Squirt B White team. I had so much fun. I highly recommend, and I'm guilty of it as well myself. You should go out and watch these kids on a Saturday and a Sunday, because go down to Cary Park. There's almost a game going on all the time at some level. Go watch these kids play. It's so I'm sitting next to the bench. They were complaining that one forward line was getting like 8 more seconds per shift than they were. You're cheating me like 10 seconds, coach. Come on, get us back out there. And then they would come and go out on the ice, and they'd be out there for about a minute and a half, and they're like, we just got out here. What are you taking us up? They wanted to play hockey. So I said, these are 9, 10, and 11-year-olds. I had a blast. I thoroughly enjoyed it. The hour and a half went like that. I was a little cold by the end, but
I watched 5 games squirt bees last weekend. 1 on Friday, 2 on Saturday, and 2 on Sunday. And I'm giving a quiz afterwards. So if I'm not watching this, they're going to.
Did you see this happen, Grandpa?
Yeah, did you see that? Did you see what I did then? And in fact, I asked my grandson a week ago. I said, "That was a really nice play at the net. Oh, what was with that penalty?" And of course, he likes talking about the one, but not so much. Well, I just got tangled up in his legs. He does. He gets tangled up in legs a lot.
A lot.
A lot.
It means to me he sounds like he should be wrestling.
Yeah, I thought so
If
too.
you're getting tangled up with the legs, that means you're a wrestler. Anyway, anything else on this tablet that we haven't talked about?
No, I don't think so. We got the wrestling thing and all.
We did the wrestling thing. The only thing that we talked about curling, but of course the Scotties Tournament of Hearts is going on. The Canadian Women's Championship is going on in Thunder Bay. Here's the scary part. They were supposed to play that in Thunder Bay last year, and of course COVID took care of that. Mm-hmm. Now they're back in Thunder Bay. Guess what? No fans. Someday I'm going to get to the Brier and or the Scotties Tournament of Hearts. Let's go see some of the best curling in the world.
Well, and that's what I used to like when we had CBC television here, because there was curling on all the time. And on Saturday nights, right after a hockey game, what do? We go have a beer and go watch curling.
So now you got to be able to get your computer out, because you go to ESPN Plus. They got the entire tournament on, just like they used. So you can go to ESPN Plus if you live in the States and get to watch some curling. Maybe tonight, maybe I'll find a little time to watch a little curling.
That'd be good for you.
That would be good for.
Help you relax.
Help me to relax a little. I'm so tense, George.
I know. Too tense.
All right, Nate. Don't forget.
No.
Don't forget. Pick up your Rainy Lake Blues Hour T-shirts at the radio station here if you live in town. Or give me a call, 218-324-3053. I'll even put it in the mail for you. I'll even ship it to you. As long as you send me a check first, I'll send you one of these. If you got the urge to have a George Frake T-shirt.
We had an order from Boston already today. And so Sue folded it up, put it in a plastic bag, and brought it down to the post office. He should have it in the next couple of days. He'll be the only one in Boston with that T-shirt.
Everybody will be looking at him going, what? Where's Rainy Lake?
People are looking at it now, and they're thinking, there must be some blues singer. I wonder who he is. He is the best.
Hey, thanks to Has Bargain Customs for coming through with the T-shirts. They did an outstanding job. Kyra, you did great. And anything else?
No, I'm good.
Hey, got a week off from football. Enjoy it. Find some Olympic sports to watch.
We'll do a Super Bowl special next week.
Oh boy, how long can we talk about football next week?
Next week, yeah.
We'll find out. Thanks, everybody.